Here in the swamps of Washington, D.C., Beyoncé has decided to throw a Juneteenth party on the White House lawn, and she busted her senile great-uncle out of the old folks' home for the evening. In a perplexing turn of events, Steve Urkel has crashed the party in an attempt to give President Potato Head some racial street cred. Let's observe from a safe distance as Uncle Chester desperately tries to perform a little cultural appropriation. But alas, this hair-sniffing creeper simply cannot keep up with Lizzo and George Jefferson's moves. As the party rages on, Robert De Niro appears on the scene to dance awkwardly beside the White House diversity hire. Careful observation will reveal the sheer genius of America's second-in-command. If you stare long enough, you can see all 67 IQ points written on Kamala's face. As we observe this bizarre scene, one cannot help but wonder, how did we get here? Is this some kind of twisted prank, or are these really the leaders of the free world? But at least Joe didn't have any accidents today.
Wow. Whoever said the season finale of America was going to be boring was absolutely wrong. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. My name is Luke Radowski here of WeAreChange.org, and there's a lot of strange, wild, and bewildering news as, of course, we now have the guilty conviction of Hunter Biden. Will he be pardoned? Probably. What are the larger kind of social implications here? We're going to be talking about that with all the latest developments with the legal lawfare that is soon going to be ramping up here in the United States, as internationally things are also not good, especially in the Middle East and off the coast of Florida, where we are getting reports of American soldiers literally looking for Russian nuclear submarines. What's going on here? Well, this guy probably doesn't know, but we're going to be talking about it with all the latest developments here on this independent media broadcast. If you like the shirt that I'm wearing that reads, I got 99 problems, but inflation made it 199 plus tax, you could get it on thebestpoliticalshirts.com, as of course Atlas has learned to be a great doggo, and she is the official co-host here. Every new subscriber, she gets a new treat. As of course, the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast was done by I don't know who. One tagline reads, "At in the event I go." Is that the person that did this? I couldn't verify. If you know who did this, please let me know, because their comedic AI intelligence creation is absolutely comedic gold and deserves to be promoted, shared, and subscribed to. As soon as we find this person, we're going to put them in the description, and you should go check them out for more of this amazing, incredible meme magic that might have been just created by AI. It's a weird world that we're living in, and it's only going to get a lot more weirder as, of course, there's a major showdown happening right now in Lebanon, as a country in the Middle East is dealing with some very significant pressures and conflicts that are expanding in its region. And soon will be expanding to, of course, not just the south of its country, but the north of it as well, as the larger proxy wars in that region seem to be expanding, just like they are between the United States and Russia, as Vladimir Putin is showing a show of force against the United States by recently sending Russian warship and a nuclear submarine off the coast of Florida, now stationed in Cuba, preparing high-precision weapons with war games and drills. As the latest report that we're getting is that a nuclear Russian submarine just passed 25 miles from the U.S. coast on the way to Cuba, as we got reports that the United States military was on full alert, allegedly, according to some accounts, as they were trying to hunt down and find this Russian nuclear submarine with the U.S. Navy P-8 Poseidon subhunter that was flying over the coast of Florida in search of this, quote, rogue Russian submarine. This, as a lot of people are describing, a new Cuban Missile Crisis that we are engaged in, as, of course, U.S. military personnel and hardware is right now on the Russian border and arming the Ukrainians that are firing into deep inside of Russian territory, going after a lot of their advanced military hardware, as the Russian nuclear submarine off the coast from Florida could potentially be equipped with some major military hardware that we would not be aware of, and this larger kind of cat and mouse saber rattling games and war drills are absolutely ridiculous from my point of view and perspective, as of course the situation here is completely out of control, out of hand, and we have to understand that there could also just be a mistake made here that could propel us towards total war and conflict. It doesn't even have to be a Gulf of Tonkin-like event. It doesn't have to be something deliberate, something staged. It could also just literally be an accident, as now 2 U.S. Navy destroyers are following a group of Russian vessels off the coast of Florida, as Russian state media television is literally talking about equipping Venezuela, Cuba, and other countries in Latin America with a lot of their advanced military hardware. All of this as Ukraine just released its pro-Russian disinformation list of American citizens, predominantly independent journalists that haven't fallen for a lot of the war propaganda out there, naming individuals like Tucker Carlson, Jimmy Dore, Russell Brand, Glenn Greenwald as individuals who are allegedly a part of a pro-Russian disinformation network in the West, highlighting, again, anti-democratic practices that go after anyone daring to question a lot of the things that we were told that were later found out to be lies. You call out those lies, you don't believe everything that the state is telling you, well, you're a, quote, Russian disinformation actor, which is ridiculous, as a lot of people are responding to this official list as a good group of people to follow, as a lot of people aren't taking this list seriously and saying it's just a way to try to stifle dissent and any serious legitimate journalism that war propagandists do not like. As of course, here in America, the government is looking more inwards directly at trying to, of course, imprison and go after their own citizenry, setting up more track, trace, and database systems, as New York just passed their own online age verification digital identification law, which soon will be matching your Google searches with your state identification, which is also linked to your national identification federal card, which of course probably in the future will be used in a social credit score like system, something that I hypothetically detailed and already is happening on lukeunfiltered.com, as I released some very interesting videos. I started again to do walk and talk videos, streams of consciousness videos with Atlas, my co-host, as we literally walk around Miami pontificating, talking, and expanding on a lot of very profound issues, as today's video will be my predictions for an entire white pill future. Tomorrow's video will be the black pill one, as of course yesterday's video was my stretching routine with the one and only Ian Crossland. You want to see our stretching routine? You want to see us do our thing and help encourage healthy, positive lifestyles? Subscribe right now to lukeunfiltered.com. Click the link down in the description below. You could sign up for many different tiers, and you get a lot of incredible offers of value. Soon, we're going to start giving out tickets to the Bitcoin conference in Louisiana. We're doing a nature hike in New Hampshire next week, only for members of lukeunfiltered.com. And you guys also get the ability to call in to our live show, a live show that we're doing later on today, 6 p.m. Eastern, with Viva Frey and the Lectern guy. You guys get to be a part of that conversation. You guys get to call in. You guys get to show us whatever you want just by simply signing up and becoming a member of lukeunfiltered.com. Later on this week, we're going to have Milo Yiannopoulos on the show. You could also talk to him by becoming a member right now on lukeunfiltered.com, and we will see you there right after this broadcast with special behind-the-scenes, cool, incredible broadcasts only available for members of lukeunfiltered.com. As, of course, the conversation still continues around the legal lawfare that, of course, a lot of independent journalists are facing. This is why your support is more important than ever. A lot of people are being sued left and right. A lot of things are happening behind the scenes that you guys have no idea about, and supporting independent media is more important than ever, especially with all the legal lawfare going on right now. As today, we also found out that Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg spent $1 million on attorneys to address the U.S. House of Representatives investigating him and his case against Donald Trump taking money away from the city budget that is dealing with significant cuts, highlighting what a lot of people are saying is clear corruption and abuse of the state that is becoming more and more politically motivated, as soon we will have the sentencing of the former president of the United States right in between the presidential debates and the RNC that will be happening in Milwaukee just days before Donald Trump could potentially be sentenced to jail. As today, a judge just rejected Donald Trump's bid to dismiss his classified documents case, as one of the allegations against him was struck down, as the court proceedings will continue, as predominantly a lot of claims by Donald Trump's defense attorneys were turned down and denied, as Donald Trump is facing 40 counts of rule and law violations, which Donald Trump has pleaded not guilty to and denied any wrongdoing. This, as a lot of the criminal complaints against Donald Trump will be continuing, as just moments ago in the making of this video, Joe Biden's own son was just convicted and found guilty of 3 felonies in his criminal court proceeding that just ended a few moments ago, highlighting a shock and surprise to a lot of Americans who are saying, hey, it's not just Donald Trump who's getting in trouble here, as of course it's the president's son who has finally been found guilty of the many numerous crimes that he previously documented extremely well, as was revealed through his own personal laptop that he left at a computer repair shop before, while literally being on his substance abuse binge. Now, the jury finding Hunter Biden guilty on all 3 charges here has some implications here, as the jury unanimously voted that Hunter Biden is guilty here, something that, of course, the corporate media and the intelligence agencies hid away from the general public, as it's important to note here that previously in this case, Hunter Biden got a sweetheart plea deal that a judge overturned. And it's because of this judge overturning a sweetheart plea deal, it's why this court proceeding actually went on in the first place. This, as Fox News is praising this judge for actually doing the right thing with their latest breaking news report on all of the surroundings with this particular case.
Hunter Biden has been found guilty on all counts in his gun trial, federal trial in Wilmington, Delaware. All right, Leo, your first response.
My first response is I go back to the Harris Faulkner Leo Terrell segment about 6 months ago. When you asked me that question, is there any way that plea deal could be stopped? I said the judge. The judge played a major role in the rule of law by saying, I'm not going to agree to this plea deal, had questions, and that's why we're here today. The American public needs to know that. That is the rule of law, and I applaud the judge. That she did an outstanding job in following the rule of law.
All of this as Hunter Biden was just seen leaving the courtroom hand in hand with the First Lady of this country, as we found out a lot of very interesting things about the Bidens through these court proceedings, especially around Beau Biden, a lot of the very kind of egregious activities by Hunter, as a lot of people are left with the new information detailing how Joe Biden wasn't the best father and wasn't really there for a lot of his children's upbringing, as new text messages show how Hunter Biden was, quote, unreliable and hard to reach, as messages with his own daughter suggest that he was not sober, stood up his own daughter many times, as he was doing a lot of really illegal activities that he was documenting. And maybe this kind of bewilderment or this kind of lost face and just total disassociation from reality, maybe it's something that runs in the Biden family, as of course we have to understand that what is going to happen next is going to be very telling for American politics, as of course Joe Biden just a few days ago told ABC News that he would not be pardoning his son, as of course he believes that that wouldn't be the right thing to do, as he described that the trial against his political opponent that is making him not campaign is, quote, a fair trial. Now, will Joe Biden keep his word and, of course, not pardon his own son from the federal charges that he was just convicted of? Well, I don't think the guy will remember any statements he made. And as President Biden just said in response to all of this, that he still loves his son, that he's proud of him, that he, quote, will accept the outcome of this case, as, quote, he will respect the judicial process as Hunter Biden considers an appeal here. As, let's just be honest here with ourselves, the most likely situation that will happen here is that he will be pardoned by his father, especially if his father loses re-election. And in the last days of his offices, especially with these federal charges, there is absolutely no freaking way, unless there's some kind of internal dispute or internal power struggle or some actual hatred between each other, there's no way that Joe Biden doesn't pardon his own son. As, of course, a lot of people are now pointing to this particular case to show people that justice still isn't blind and that people could still be punished. As, of course, I still don't believe that you could compare these two particular cases. As, of course, Hunter Biden literally had photos of him doing illegal things. He literally left self-defense, very dangerous tools outside of schools. As there's photos, there's videos, there's documentation of him committing illegal crimes. Donald Trump, a way more significant political player, as of course Hunter Biden is just the son. You can't compare the two like USA Today is, as of course they're now saying that the Hunter Biden conviction is the needle that pops Trump's inflated rigged trial conspiracy. And again, that's a desperate extrapolation here, as of course you can't really compare the two to each other. It's like comparing apples to oranges. Yes, they're fruits, but it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense looking at the larger purview of all of these things, as it's still fair to say that there is an unfair balance to political power in the United States, as the Department of Justice, the FBI, and a lot of other federal forces have been going after people for the stupidest of crimes that absolutely make no sense at all, as the federal government literally is involved in investigating crimes against representative cultural figures, symbolic gestures, and protests that the state doesn't like because of the political ideologies that they represent. As of course, it's fair to say that when the right-wingers get into power, if they ever will, that there's going to be some very interesting legal lawfare that, of course, probably will be enacted on the left here, as of course it is becoming more and more inevitable. The more that the left wields this larger weapon against the right, the more likely there will be a retaliation here legally, as well as, of course, the rule of law is taking a backseat to political partisanship and power plays that are becoming more and more important for the people who abuse their positions of power. So yeah, that's dumb too. And if you agree, share this video with your friends and family members, because we are on a pathway towards utter freaking lunacy. Hunter Biden is going to be pardoned. Donald Trump is going to be sentenced, probably is going to be going into jail right before the RNC, which he might not be able to be at physically, which might open the door to a lot of foul play and underhanded activities that could potentially see him not be the nominee this year. Lots of crazy stuff is happening, and we're going to be reporting on it from the front lines, all here with your support. Another video continues on lookUnfiltered.com right now, and I will see you again here on this channel, 6 p.m. Eastern, for a 2-hour-long live podcast here on youtube.com/wearechange. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, and this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on this YouTube channel.